everyone, welcome back. It's been quite some time since our last video, so apologies about that if you keep checking back to see whether we have a new episode. Thanks for your bids in the September auction. We have been incredibly busy since, now working towards our December sale, 4-day auction taking place from the 3rd to the 6th of December. We've had a huge amount in already. I think we're possibly already up to about 600 or 700 lots, and we're still 6 weeks away from the deadline. So if you do have anything you do want to sell and you want to make the sale bigger, 1st of November is the final day to get the lots in. But like I said, some very good collections in. We're going to have a look today and see what we have, or see what we've currently processed. We've got some very nice things coming up, including some artist-owned guitars as well. So I think without me waffling on as I usually do, let's take a look. So in this old Selmer case, it's something actually quite interesting. This is artist owned, or was artist owned. The strap should be the big giveaway. And if you can't get it from the strap, maybe you'll get it from the truss rod cover. So this guitar was owned by Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick. So the story is, in the very early days of Cheap Trick, Rick Nielsen was over here, and he ended up giving this guitar to Dave Edmunds. Rick was a huge fan of Dave Edmunds, and yeah, this guitar went to him. Anyway, Dave Edmunds eventually ended up trading this into a shop in Kew, Chandler's Guitars in Kew, and the vendor purchased it from there. Now, when the vendor bought it, he didn't actually know who Rick Nielsen was, and it was only a couple of years ago he saw something about Rick Nielsen on TV and thought, hold on, that's the name on the headstock of my guitar, and suddenly realised what he had. So it didn't mean anything to him at the time when he bought it from the shop, but there we go. So it's not a Gibson, it's a Gibson copy that Rick had, and there's a story behind that as well. We do also have emails between the vendor and Rick Nielsen, with Rick confirming it was his guitar and the story behind it. There are some images of it being used, so all the provenance will be in the description, because there is a much bigger story behind it, but that is the general gist. Comes in a Selmer case, so a nice old 60s Selmer case, but yeah, there we go. Rick Nielsen owned 335. So I think I better address the chain. I actually forgot that I had it on in the last take, and I was going to go straight into saying what this is all about. It's not my new fashion. This chain was formerly owned by Johnny Winter, hence why we're exhibiting it. So this was won in an auction, the Johnny Winter auction in Guernsey's, over in America. So the Johnny Winter the family had an estate sale after his death, and this is one of his chains that he used to wear. I believe we have a picture of him wearing this one as well, but there's possibly going to be a few other bits as well that the vendor bought in that sale. So yeah, interesting piece. What's it worth? Possibly a couple of £100. It's not real gold, I will add. It's just a gold effect metal chain, but something that Johnny Winter used to wear on stage. So there we go. If you're a big fan of Johnny Winter, and you like his style, then there we go. So another artist-owned guitar. It's actually a birth year guitar for me. So this was made in 1986. It's a Japanese Fender Esquire. So this was formerly owned by Mick Ralphs of Bad Company fame, and obviously Mott the Hoople as well. Underneath the pickguard as well, there is an inscription that says property of Mick Ralphs, with an expletive and the word Bad Company. So I think we try and be expletive free in these videos for obvious reasons, but there we go. So it's a blonde Esquire, 1986 Fender Esquire, made in Japan, and it's been customised by Mick. It's got this this black guard, and the wiring as well. So Mick Ralphs had a certain way that he would wire his guitars up. He was a big user of single pickup guitars, and this guitar does have the Mick Ralphs wiring modification. So there we go, 1986, Mick Ralphs owned Fender Esquire. So in here we have a circa 2000 Epiphone Les Paul Jr. Now this guitar was formerly owned by Carlos Santana. So the story goes, this is the second time we sold this guitar. We sold this for the original owner who was gifted it by Santana, a chap called Robbie Hart, who was a Carlos Santana tribute act, and at the time he was the only solo act, and he used to make all of his own backing tracks. Now Carlos Santana stumbled across what he did, was very impressed with the act, was very impressed with how well put together the backing tracks were, and so as a gift he sent him this guitar. So he sent him one of his used plectrums as well to go with it. He signed it for him, so you can see 2001, it is a 2000, made in 2000, the guitar. So yeah, a gift to Robbie Hart from Carlos Santana with the plectrum, and then we've got the old invoice, a couple of other autographs, just in terms of authenticity, the bidder number, and then Robbie Hart's calling card. So not one, but two NCG T-type guitars, so Nottingham City guitars, chap called Andy Averson, who we know very well, a couple of his custom-made Telecasters, very good builder, very good luthier. All of the hardware on this is designed and made himself. It's kind of, wow, it's incredible quality, and I guess rivals Mastery. In fact, I think it's better than Mastery hardware. But anyway, some good instruments, good specs, always with decent pickups as well. We'll have the full specs on our descriptions. I personally actually recently got a NCG Bayou model, one of Andy's own designs, and it is literally the best guitar I've ever played in my life. And I don't say that, well, I never say that lightly. I think I really do mean that. So incredible guitar. We actually featured one in our auction. Some of you may remember it. It was the yellow guitar by him. So I have now come into possession of one of those myself because I thought it was such a great guitar, and I now have one, and I do not put it down. I don't play anything else. So there you go. If you want a decent guitar, get an NCG Bayou or one of Andy's original builds. Jack Kendrew actually also has one after playing them here. So Jack, the guy who does our demos, a very good and accomplished session guitarist. He's got a slightly different model, but in a similar vein to the one I have, and again, he just doesn't put it down. He uses it live for everything. The only time he doesn't use it is when he's playing a particular style, where he needs a guitar to look a certain way. But he doesn't put it down like me. I've actually got band practice tonight, so I'm very much looking forward to playing it again. So yeah, do check out Andy's work, makes some great guitars. This isn't a sponsor post at all. I've just got a lot of time for Andy's work, so yeah, check them out. And a couple of tellies in an XL, but his own designs are fantastic. So in here, Gibson, something a bit different, first we've ever had. So this is a around 1983, so 82, 83 these are made, and this is a Gibson Moderne, for those who don't know. I guess it's kind of the Carina trilogy, with the Flying V, the Explorer, and then of course the Moderne, that were all made around the time, sort of the reissues from the original 50s guitars. So very wacky, very futuristic. There we go, and this one's in great condition. I think you'll struggle to find one much better. There might be the odd mark on there, but it's in its original case, and we've even got the original purchase receipts, got the original tags. We've even got the receipt book for the hire purchase back then, so you can see 83 with all the payments. But yeah, purchased by the vendor from the original owner. So fantastic example and fairly collectible these days. And here, from 1 decade later, and possibly in the wrong decade, is a 1993 Gibson M3, and this is in fantastic condition. It's from a deceased estate, but the deceased was the original owner, possibly hence the condition. Very looked after his guitars well, and yeah, it's just again another quirky Gibson, made in 1993. These were kind of Gibson's answer to the 80s hair metal guitars, but I think possibly part of the reason they never caught on was that they came to the market slightly too late. But still, we've got the whammy here, which is it a Floyd? I think it is on these rather than a Kahler. Yeah, they're Floyd. Yeah, Floyd Rose licensed Gibson branded trem there. Zebra pickups, maple board with these, I guess, Plex style pearl inlays, the reverse headstock. Yeah, cool guitar, I think, and still fairly affordable for quite a rare instrument. I mean, these £1,000 to £1,500, which I guess if you're into your shred guitars or like things that are a bit different, there we go. Indulge yourself. So in this modern case is something quite old. So we're a bit more traditional now. So this is a 1957 Gibson ES-175, but it's right on the cusp of transition between a P90 dog ear pickup and the PAF. So the PAF pickup ones are more valuable for obvious reasons. The pickup themselves are worth a lot of money, but this is the transition year where they went from single P90 over to humbucker, but it's in good condition, some light checking all over, but there we go. It doesn't have its original case. Apparently the case perished, and they ended up getting rid of it, which rightly or wrongly. I mean, I think I guess if you don't know, you don't know. But anyway, it now comes in a 90s Gibson case, but otherwise it's in fantastic condition. So a couple of Hofners to show you. I'm not the biggest Hofner fan, as a lot of our regular viewers will know, but I think this model just looks classy. So this is the Hofner Committee, so it's kind of the higher end of Hofner's range archtop. So you've got, this is from around 1960-61. So you've got this highly figured bird's eye maple back and sides, with the typical inlay that you do see on these Hofners. Neck's in good shape, hasn't shifted too much, a common issue with these Hofner guitars. But you've got the fancy headstock as well, with the inlay and the fancy tuners, the ebony board with the again the fancy, keep saying fancy inlays. So good condition, some checking to the finish, but not bad for a 70-ish year old guitar. And another Hofner for you, this time a bass. Probably one of my favourite bass models. I prefer these over the violin bass, in fact. I just think they're quite well weighted and balanced. But 1965 this one, which is basically dated by spec pretty much, and serial number. But there we go, decent condition. It's obviously had some use, some wear, and these have come up a lot in value. They were not long ago, they were sort of low to mid hundreds, but now they're getting up towards more of around the £1,000 mark. But I think a lot of the US buyers are now collecting them as well, which helps. But yeah, decent condition considering the age. Terry Pack guitars. A lot of those who are involved in the guitar community will know Terry, probably personally, but he designed these quite incredible guitars, and they're fantastic instruments. If you want a decent acoustic guitar, look no further. There's lots of different designs. We actually happen to have 5 in the cell. These are all basically new. They're new old stock, so they've never been bought new, I guess is the way to say it really. But yeah, so this one is from 2024. It's a DBS model, so you've got this highly figured myrtle back and sides, solid spruce top, all solid woods, this solid mahogany neck, ebony board with decent inlays. You can see the hang tag still there. It's got the original case. But yeah, designed by Terry, made in Vietnam, and they are just incredible quality. What do we look for these? Around £1,000, but when you compare them to sort of equivalents from some of the big, I guess the more well-known brands, you'd probably be paying easily in excess of £2,000 for one of these at auction, at least anyway. So yeah, so very, very good guitars. Make sure you have a look at these, especially if you come down to the viewing. We've got 5 different models, and they are all, as I said, new, maybe perfect and in time for Christmas. So in here we have quite a sought after guitar, but very much a player's grade example. So this is a 1962 Gibson ES-335, but it has had a lot of changes, unfortunately. But maybe fortunate for someone who wants to pick up one for that's not 5 figures. You can see them on the market for 15 to 20,000 now, but this will be well under 5 figures. We've actually put a pre-sale guide of 4,000 to 6,000 on this guitar. But what are the issues? Well, it's got a refinished body, as I think most of you can see. You can even see some of the paint in the F-holes where it hasn't been quite taped off properly. But it does have its original path pickups, so they are in place. The bridge has been changed. You can see that's a chrome bridge, should be nickel. Original stop bar. These knobs are repro, they're changed. The guard is original. Now, the neck is the biggest issue with the guitar. I mean, we have got a refinish, but the neck is the big thing. So you can see here, there is a graft. So it has had a brand new head put on the guitar. So that is a non-Gibson head. And the neck itself has been reprofiled, so it's got quite a thin neck. It does have its original Brazilian rosewood board, so that has been saved. So neck reprofiled, new head, so obviously had a nasty neck break at some point. But there we go. It's been in the same family for well, a very, very long time. Again, it's a deceased estate selling on behalf of the deceased son, and he remembers the guitar. Well, he remembers his dad having the guitar way back in the 80s. So it's been, like I said, in the same family for a long time. It's seen a life. It's had modifications, but in the severe player's grade category. But a decent buy for someone who wants a path-loaded ES-335 from the early 60s. And from the same collection, but this one is a nice example. So we saw the 50s 175, so this is a 60s 175, and this is from 1967. So you've got the skinnier nut, you've got the split parallelogram inlays, Indian rosewood board on this one, that transitioned out in about 65, 66 with Gibson. So you've got the patent number pickups, so these are the original pickups, but it is a good, decent example, all original, fantastic condition, comes with its original Gibson case, albeit having a replaced handle, but nice guitar. And if you don't mind the skinny nut width, which a lot of people are fine with, I'm certainly fine with it, then there you go. Good, decent ES-175. Something a bit more contemporary for you. And again, from the same collection as the last 2 Gibsons, this is a Telecaster Deluxe. So all the deluxe features from 2008, as we can decipher from the serial number, in this sort of a, I guess that's sienna or cherry sunburst finish. Pearl guard, S1 switching, noiseless pickups. It's a decent guitar with its case and in fine condition. Jumping back to Gibson, and it's the workhorse Les Paul, as they're known. So this is a Les Paul Firebrand, so a very, very stripped down guitar from the 80s. This is 83, I believe. No, it's actually 1980, earlier than I remembered. So you've got this sort of a more plain mahogany body. As you can see, it's a 3-piece body. Got the ebony board, dot inlays, the LP Firebrand truss rod cover, the branded Gibson logo, nice and simple, just a nice stripped back rock machine. With its original protector case. It's just a nice original example. It's got its original T-top pickups. You can see the T's on top there. Very well regarded pickups. Give a lot of nice bite, and they drive really well, as most of you already know. But yeah, there we go. 1980 Gibson Les Paul Firebrand. So in here we have a Mexican Fender Telecaster. There we go. But it's been modified in the Nashville style, as you can see. So it has been routed underneath, but we got Seymour Duncan pickups. We got the middle one in the sort of stacked humbucker there, coil switching. So it's a bit of fun, isn't it? So lots of tonal variety there, and this will come in at low hundreds, so £200 to £400 estimate. 1996 Fender Telecaster from Mexico with some mods. So in here, nice Gibson acoustic. A lot of Gibsons today, so if you're not interested in Gibsons, apologies, but we're doing them in the order we're processing them. So this is a 2011 Gibson Hummingbird in black, with onboard electrics. It's got a few marks, bit of a lacquer. This isn't a crack, it's just some lacquer and moisture's got underneath there. But yeah, decent Gibson Hummingbird acoustic guitar. And here we have a 2015 American Standard Stratocaster in this cool sort of ocean mystic blue. The plate and the serial would suggest it's probably from 2014, 60th year, but we have checked out the serial number and it does actually come to being leaving the factory in 2015. But there we go, nice and clean example. Good American Standard. Those of you who want a restoration project, this really is all over the place. 1965 Vox English made Phantom 12. So 12-string Vox Phantom. It's had modifications. It's got pickup modifications and routing, and various other things going on. Lots of lacquer cracking, as is very typical for these. But yeah, a 1965 rare guitar, Phantom 12, in need of some TLC. And in here we have, from around 2003, a National Resophonic O Deluxe, so model O Deluxe, with the Hawaiian etching. So very good quality resonator guitar if you're after a resonator for all your blues slide playing, with its original case. Nice. And just one more guitar today. That's all we have time for. So much to feature, but not enough time. So we've got a mid-1980s Fender Jazzmaster, made in Japan. It's a very good 62 copies, and with the dot inlays, Indian rosewood board. The only real issue is someone's taken the scrolls off of the logo. Why, I don't know, because they're a good-looking feature. But there we go, made in Japan, mid-1980s, Fender Jazzmaster. So there we go, ladies and gents, thanks for joining us today. Once again, apologies, it's been so long. We will have more regular updates now, at least once a week, maybe sometimes twice a week, see how we go on. We have had a lot of stuff in, only been able to feature what we've had time for, what we've had time to record essentially. But we do have a lot of guitars. I mean, I'm sure if CJ just quickly swings the camera around, you can see the racks are already full, and we have some overflow racks filling up already as well. So huge collections coming in, a lot still to come in. And yeah, let us know, as usual, what your favourite guitar was. As always, please remember to subscribe to our channel, like this video, hit the bell icon to be notified for future video uploads, and we really look forward to seeing you next time.